Hey guys, so we're pouring inside today. This is a garage floor. It actually has 4 inches of slope. Now this back part we're doing is flat to that little yellow stake you see in the middle. This is flat, and then from that stake to the garage doors pitches 4 inches. Not what we set up or anything. It's just what the builder wanted, what the GC wanted, how it was graded by the excavator. We're just hired as a sub here today from the foundation contractor to come in and just provide the labor to pour and finish the concrete. So we'll get it poured, screeded, bull floated. You'll see that on the video. And then Darren and Luke will stay here. They'll power trowel it nice and smooth, get it saw cut today. But what I really want to talk about with you guys a little bit on this video is about screeding the concrete. Now we're going to screed by hand. If you can see to your right down that our magnesium screed sitting on top of that little foundation wall. That's a 14-foot screed. Now we're going to do everything by hand today. We'll talk a little bit about why we're going to do that and why I think that's really probably one of the fastest ways to screed concrete is the way that we do it. And I want to hear you guys' comments. And I know there's a lot of people that screed concrete and they do it a lot differently than us. And you can make your argument down in the comments why you think your method is better or faster or even more accurate. But I'm going to make my argument today when we get going. So the foundation contractor did this foundation late last fall. Now this is early in the spring. The builder's been framing on this foundation all winter long, and finally it's warmed up enough so we can come in here and get the concrete done. It's about a 36 by 26 garage floor. So this is how we're striking our pad. Now we come in with a laser, we shoot our grades set based on what the builder tells us. We snap chalk lines and then we mag float our pads to the chalk lines. And then we set our grade pads in the middle with a laser. We set a pin in this one to go by. And then this is how we screed the concrete. Two guys, a 14-foot screed. And this is about 15 feet from, right to left, I guess if you want to call it. So that area right there is about 15 by 14. Two guys screeding that, and I didn't time it exactly, but you can time it on the video. That took less than 30 seconds to screed that area. Now I know a lot of guys screed by themselves with like an 8-foot screed or a 10-foot screed. There's like no way you're screeding that any faster. And then even us, like we have power screeds, we have battery vibrating screeds, we have gas powered vibrating screeds, and even using something like that, we're not going to be much, if any, faster. We could probably do it just as fast with those. But you can see Darren and I, we're just pulling that down with the right slump. Two guys knowing what they're doing, raking. That's a really fast way to screed. Now not everybody can screed like that. It takes a lot of practice to get that rhythm, to be able to kick your feet so you fill in your boot tracks as you move backwards. To score, making sure you're scoring on the outside of the screed. That's what Darren and I are both looking at as we're screeding, to make sure everything's really accurate. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's one of the most accurate, one of the most fastest ways to screed a concrete floor right there. Now, when I started out, when I was 15 years old, 16 years old, I did commercial work. So we didn't do just small floors like this. We were doing, 5,000. This was back in the 80s, 5,000 square foot, 10,000, 15,000 square foot concrete floors that exact same way. They didn't have vibrating power screeds back then. They didn't have the big ride on power screeds to do concrete floors back then. Everything was done by hand. So that's basically where I grew up. The world I grew up in was just what you see us doing right now. And that's how I taught, Darren and Luke how to screed, was the same way. And Harvey can screed that way too. And the reason we're screeding the garage here today like this is, number one, it's not really that big, so we didn't think we needed to get the power screed out. Plus, the area we're doing right now, that starts sloping 4 inches from where we started this bay to the garage doors. So there's quite a bit of slope in this. And we found that by just doing it by hand, the concrete's going to be a lot more accurate. Like, you're much less likely to get any tiny little dips or humps in the floor if you screed by hand like this versus using vibrating screed. And we use vibrating screeds all the time. We've been using them for years and years. We're really good at it. We still feel like it's a little more accurate this way. But you can make your argument. Let me know down in the comments. And you can see as Harvey bull floated that was coming out really nice. So truck number 1 we got done. Now we're on to truck number 2. And getting this stuff poured out, you know, when you're working inside like this, obviously the access isn't good. The builders had, you can see they had some staging on the outside of this thing that was keeping the truck back from the building a little bit further than normal. So we had to use our extension chute. And then the mix we're using today, we use 3500 as a basic standard garage floor mix here in Maine. That's plenty strong enough. You don't need to go any stronger than 3500 psi. I did floors for years, 3000 psi for years in floors like this, and with no problems. 3000 psi. We bumped up because of all the different chemicals they use now. We bumped it up to 3500 psi, you know, a few years ago. We got fiber mesh in here. We got water reducer in this thing. This is a pretty good floor mix. They use just straight Portland cement in here. There's no like slag or fly ash or any other type of additive. So we're kind of lucky that way. We don't have the new type 1L eco concrete. So we don't have any troubles with that. It's just as basic a concrete mix as you can get, I guess, from what I hear from a lot of other people pouring concrete right now. You can see that slump. That's the perfect slump with the water reducer that we use in the mix. It's about a 7 slump right there. Pulls around really nice. Easy to pull around, get in place, easy to screed, and it makes it easy to bull float. Now again, we're a sub on this job. Like, we don't design the floor mix. We don't design the reinforcement that goes in it or anything like that. It's just we get a call, we get a text, and the text from the foundation contractor says such and such floor is ready. This is the size. This is the address. You know, go check it out, get concrete ordered, and get it poured and finished. That's all we get. It's nothing about, you know, at least on this particular job, nothing about going in here and adding any other types of reinforcement or vapor barrier or anything like that. It was just get the concrete poured. So we'll get 90% of that second truck poured out before we screed anything. We've already gone around and started to mag some of the edges. Just kind of finishing up that last piece of bull floating right there. We're pretty fussy with the bull float because, you know, we're the same guys finishing the concrete with the power trowel. So we found the better the bull float job, the easier the first hit is with the power trowel. Now what I'm doing, me and Darren, we're screeding right now. Luke's the one raking the concrete. Is we're screeding it down close enough so we can turn the screed and start going towards like the concrete truck with the screed. So we want to get it close enough to the garage door here where the pad we finish off from is about 12 feet away from that door. That way some of that screed overhangs onto the pad that we've already done, and we can use that to go by when we screed. In this area right now, that screed board is about 14 feet. This area, again, slopes about 2 inches from where Darren is here on the left to the front of the garage door. We're over there where I'm screeding on the right. You can see that mix, it doesn't sag and anything, holds together really good. The way we hold the screed, we keep it on the back edge. We don't cut it on the front edge. We slightly tip it on the back edge, and that helps smooth the concrete out as we screed it. You can see it makes bull floating a heck of a lot easier. And then as we're screeding, you see the line over there on the right as I'm screeding? See that little bit of line from the end of the screed? That tells me that I'm down where I need to be on my pad perfectly. And then Darren's doing the same thing on his side. And that's our gauge is kind of like what we go by when we screed, and that's what makes it really fast. Once we know we've scored, we just keep trucking, we keep moving, we don't stay in one place. So if we're talking about timing on the screed, how much time it takes to screed a floor like this, 30 seconds, less than a minute per bay. You're talking about 5 or 6 minutes of screed time on this floor, and I don't care who you are, there's no way if you screed this by yourself with a 10-foot board, you're doing this in less than 5 or 6 minutes. There's just no way. I've done it, and we screed by hand by ourselves too. So I know I've screeded by myself with this 14-foot board. I got a 12, a 10, a 8, 6. We do it by ourselves too, and this way is just, I don't know, it's a lot faster, a lot less effort too, probably. So we're gonna finish up screeding. You're gonna get to see me bow float this and get it nice and smooth, and then I'm gonna pack up and I'm out of here. I'll go check out some more jobs on the list, shoot grades on them, figure the concrete, get the concrete on the books for the either the upcoming week or the week after. We usually got a couple weeks booked in advance, and then we hope for good weather so we don't have to keep juggling things depending on what town we're in. We're basically in a different town every day. We could be this town here, Freeport, Maine, is the home of LL Bean. It's 45 minutes from our house, and then the next day, which is tomorrow, obviously, could be 30 minutes the total opposite way from the shop. It all depends on what job is ready when and who needs it the most. It's kind of how we schedule things. It's never like, oh, we're just going to be working in the next town over the next day. That's just the way this life is and how things go. And we like getting concrete for early in the morning, like 6:30 a.m., 7 a.m., first round every single day. That tends to make things go a little bit smoother for us as far as wait times. We can usually get all the trucks we need back to back. If there's more than 2 trucks, if there's 4 trucks, if there's 6 trucks, we like to get them just as fast as possible, right back to back. And then the pour goes in nice and easy. And then it's a matter of, like today, this stuff is setting up pretty good. I could feel it under the bow float, but being where it's undercover in the shade, Luke and Darren are going to have probably at least an hour before they have to think about even finishing this. The only thing they really need to do is taper the garage doors as the concrete sets up a little bit. But that's going to be about it. So again, let me know what you think about the screeding down in the comments. Let me know if you do it the same way we do, a little differently, or if you think your way is a little faster, try to explain it, and we'll debate it down there. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.